Alright guys, so in the previous video we learned about different tools and functions within the Moho animation software. In this video we're going to be taking everything we've learned to another level. We're going to be learning something exciting. In this video we'll learn how to import and animate a picture in Moho. Alright, so to get started, let's first import our picture into Moho. So go to the file menu, come down to import, select general import, then we'll come down to where our picture is and select it. All right, so as you can see, this is a transparent picture. There is something I would like you guys to understand about picture. Pictures have two formats that they generally come in. There are two more popular picture formats. The first one is JPEG, and then the second one is PNG. Right, so PNG photos have the ability to be transparent, while JPEG pictures can usually not be transparent. Okay, so and for convenience sake, it's much preferable for you to work with PNG images because you can get them to become transparent. Also in Moho, you can import both a PNG and a JPEG image, right? But for convenience, it's more advisable to work with PNG images because they have a little bit more quality than JPEG. So the picture I just imported now, as you can see the name, it's a PNG image. Okay, it's a PNG, right? So first of all, once you import a picture, you have to make sure that the picture is transparent, although depending on what you want to animate. Now let me import another picture that has a background, and let's see how we can remove the background. So I'll still come back to general import, and let's select this image. You can see this is a JPEG, so I'm going to open this. Okay, I'm going to use this anchor to scale it down. So as you can see right now, we have two images. This is PNG image that has a background. This is a JPEG image that has a background. This is a PNG image that doesn't have a background. So once you import a picture into Moho and that picture has a background, there is a simple way to remove the background by using the background removal tool or the image masking tool. So we select it and click the color we want to remove. Let me change this interface to black so that we can see the understand these images better. So I'm going to come to file, come to preferences, come to editors color, change the background to black. So I'll just darken this. Okay, and I'm also going to change my interface to black. I prefer it when it's darker. So I'm going to use my color picker to pick any color here so that the background and the layout is going to be the same color. Alright, so now right now you can see that everything is okay. It's preferable to have your background dark so that you can only concentrate on the colors coming from the assets that you have that you're working on. Okay, so right now you can see that this picture has a check background and this one doesn't have. So we're removing the background for the JPEG image. All right, so let's do that. Select the image masking tool. I'm going to click. So when I click, the particular color I clicked will be gone. So I'm just going to clean off all this by clicking each of the colors. All right, so once I click them, they are all gone. Avoid clicking on the color that the image color, because when I click it, it's going to start removing the color for the images too. So I'm clicking just the background, the places I want to clean off. So I could just click them so that they can clean off. However, you can see that the image masking tool doesn't usually do a perfect work. That's why it's preferable for you to download an image that already has a transparent background. However, if the image you have doesn't already has a background and you don't know how to remove the background from your images, you can go to a site called Remove Background. Just go to Google and type remove background. The first website that is going to appear there, you can upload your image there, and the artificial intelligence will simply clean out the background for you neatly. Okay, so I'm going to take this out since we've learned how to remove a background from an image. So I'm going to take this out. I'm just going to turn it off from here. So right now we're working with this image. So there's a tool here called Transform Layer Tool. This is the tool used to move anything that you have imported, that whether it's a vector or an image. So now that we have this, next thing we're going to do is want to start adding. This will be your first introduction to um, bones. Okay, so working with bones, this is going to be your first introduction. So we're going to add some bones like skeletons to this image so that we can use it to control this image. However, before adding an image, a bone to this image, we can animate it even without adding bones. Peradventure, what you're working on is you just want this image to move around. So I'll just take any point on my timeline and I can move the image around. See, the position has been recorded. Um, I can scale that down. Then we have something like this, as simple as this, based on what your animation needs are. Okay, so you can move the image around from left to right, scale it, rotate it. So now that I made a rotation, it has been recorded on my timeline. So from here, the image is going to rotate and come down, rotate and come back, right? So that's for basic animation without bones, right? So I'm going to take this out, delete. I'm going to take this out, delete. So I'm sure it's only the image layer that I have remaining. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating skeletons on this um, image. So to do that, I'm going to come to my new layer window and I'm going to select the bone layer. Right. In the previous video, we discussed folders, how you can work with folder or a group in your layer window. So right now, um, this layer, this bone um, layer is the same thing as the group layer that we have earlier. Only that this one now has an additional property that allows you to add bones to a particular image that you're working on. Okay, so what we are going to do now, this picture, we're going to drag it and fix it inside the bone layer. So you can see right now the picture is inside this our bone layer. So I'm going to see. So when I minimize and maximize, you can see the content that the image inside. All right, so once we've done that, you can see that once we select the bone layer, that there are additional tools that appear on your toolbar. If I select the image layer, you can see that the tools are no longer visible. If I select the bone layer, the tools are visible. So I'm going to go over these tools briefly. The first tool is your select bone tool. You can use it to select bones if you already have bones added here. The next is your add bone tool, which allows you to create bones. So if I drag and release, you can see bones. These are what we call bones. Okay. Right. And then this is a sketch bone tool. You can use it to draw and it will add bones based on the drawing that you drew. Okay, so now we're going to start adding bones to this lady. So to do that, first thing I'm going to drag a bone from here, or rather I'm going to draw the base bone. In a human body, you remember, you know, the center of mass of a human being is in the pelvis, somewhere around the pelvic area, right? So we're going to first add base bone. So I'm either going to click. When I click once, it will add a pin bone. When I click and drag, it will add a normal bone. So I'm going to use this to select this, then hit the delete on my keyboard. Right, so right now I'm going to add a pelvic bone. So I'm going to just draw a bone across. Now every other bone I'm going to be adding after this is going to be um, attached to this bone. So I'm going to add one bone here, add a second bone here, right? Then I'm going to select the pelvis bone again, and then add one bone downwards. All right, so right now we have a bone connected to this character, right? So you can see that once we've added bones to the character, some additional tools that were not highlighted before have now become um, highlighted. Okay, so now we have the transform bone tool, we have the manipulate bone tool, and then some other ones. Okay, so we're going to just concentrate on these first four tools here. Those are the primary tools we're going to be using for now. Okay, so you can see we have our bones. So the manipulate bone tool is what we use to control the bones. Okay, so if I should move to any point on my timeline and I drag this bone across, you can see that the bone is already attached to her body, and then when I move that particular bone, the part of the body that is attached to the character begins to move. Okay, if I move this bone, you can see that the part of the character attached to the bone is also moving. If I move this, you can see that her legs are moving. Okay, so we can create something like as though she's dancing. So I'm going to come here, move her down, then come here, move her to the other way, and then come here and return it back to the center. So when I play that, you could see we have something like this. Good. Play it again. Okay, so this can already serve as an animation if that is what you intend. You can already export this, fix a background on it, and then you're good to go. Right, so that's how you animate your picture. I'm going to go over a few things to help us understand this better. Okay, you can see that there is some sort of a field around each bone. Each of these bone have a field around them. Okay, you can see that once I select the manipulate bone tool, you can see it. This explains the region of influence of each of these bones. So that means the regions outside these bones, outside the areas where this bone has influence, might not necessarily be affected by the bone based on the settings. Okay, so that means the hands actually are not affected by this bone, but because there is no other bone around it, around the arm, so Moho will automatically attach even the parts that are outside the influence of the bone to the bone. So what is happening now is that Moho calculates that the head, the chest areas are attached to this particular bone. Okay, however, the arms and the other parts don't have any other bone around it. So Moho will also calculate that the rest of the hands and those other areas are also under the influence of this bone. Okay, so you can reduce or increase the areas of influence of a bone by selecting the bone strength tool here. So if I select it, I'll just place my cursor on top of a bone, click and drag to the left or to the right. You can see it, I can increase or decrease the area of influence of a bone. Okay, so I can decrease the area of influence of a bone. All right, so if you have an area that extends far out that is not influenced by this bone, you can simply increase the influence of this bone. Okay, so right now you can see we have our character um, bending to the left and to the right. So guys, that's how you animate your picture. What we're going to do is let's take another example, a second example. Let's import some other picture. So I'm going to turn this off. Okay, and I'm going to come to general import, general import. And let me select another image. Let's say we're working with this. All right, so we have our image. So I'm going to zoom it in so that it can fit the screen. All right, perfect. Then next thing, I'm going to remove the background. So I'll use the masking tool, image mask tool, to click to remove the areas that I don't want. Remember to remove the background from your image using another tool. Moho doesn't do a good job as to background removal. All right, so right now I just want her to move her hands and maybe her heads a little. So remember, I'm going to create a bone layer. Good. Then I'm going to drag the image I imported into the bone layer. All right, so now I can start adding bones to the image. So I use the add bone tool. First, I'm going to add my base bone. And then on my base bone, I can start adding um, the skeleton for the character. So I could just add 1, 2, 3 for the head. Okay, and then for the arms, I'm going to select the bone that I want that particular bone to be attached to. For example, if I should add this bone now, Moho attached a new bone to the previous bone that was just created. So there's what we call bone parenting. If I should click this, if I should click this, sorry, yep, this, you can see that this bone is pointing to this bone. So it's when the parent moves that the child will move. For example, if I should come here and I move the head bone, you can see that the hand bone is moving, which is not what I want, right? So whenever you're adding bone, don't forget to parent your bones properly. That means now the bones to the arms are supposed to be attached. The what's this bone called? Is it the tibula? I can't remember, but the bones here are going to supposed to be attached to the bones here, and the bones here are supposed to be attached to the bones here, and the bones here are supposed to be attached to this bone. All right. If I don't want to go through all those stress, all I'm going to do is to just select this bone and then add the bones for my arm. Okay, so this time I'm going to add one here and the second one here. So if I should check my bone parenting, you can see that this bone is pointing to this bone, and then this bone is pointing to this bone. Perfect. All right, guys, so I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to select this bone, then I'm going to add one and then two. All right, so that means we're good to go with our animation. So let's move this bone around. So if we move the arm, you can see. Same here. Then we can have her just move around a little. The bone animation is not very perfect, so you can see that there are some distortion. The image animation is not really very perfect, so you can see some distortion. Or at least you could use it for something in your animation. So let's just say that she turns, then moves her arms out a little, and then here she turns to the other side. Then she moves this hand out a little. Okay, so we have this. Right, guys, so we've learned how we can animate pictures using Moho. In the next video, we'll learn how we can easily download pictures or graphics or vectors from the internet and animate them.